This is The Ultimate Mind with Dr. Alok Trivedi, aka Dr. Rewire. Are you ready to unlock the full potential of your health, your wealth, and your relationships? Welcome to The Ultimate Mind, where we dive deep into the world of biohacking, metabolic health, functional well-being, and the money mindset. Each week, you're going to be hearing from enlightened conversations with thought leaders that'll give you the insights, the strategies to help you reshape your life, achieve your dreams, and of course, unlock the ultimate potential of your mind. Connect with us on the social in the links below. And today I've got a guest for you who is mastering this game for herself. She's an unbelievable leader and has helped literally over 2 million people. She reaches 2 million people in her work. She's the founding member of the Young Living in Hong Kong. She's an international speaker, a published author, natural health educator, an entrepreneur. She's had over 60,000 people on her team. Now that's huge. I want you to understand that, right? To build a network marketing organization or a direct sales organization, however the language is in that space, to build an organization that large, there's something about an individual that speaks to their leadership capacity and ability, and she's got that for sure. She's got a vast knowledge of natural health remedies, personal growth, and skills. She has her own journey from darkness to light, which we all do, and I'm excited to hear hers and how she overcame that for herself. She has international speaking engagements on faith, belief, retaining through relationships, finding your voice, letting go, TCM, and essential oils, children's wellness, and she's a rare trilingual motivational speaker. I can barely do it in English. She's got it in 3 languages, and she's a personal business coach on these subjects. Please help me welcome Miss Joanne Kan. Joanne, thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be able to speak to you.
And you're speaking to us from my home country, not even in Toronto today.
Yes, I'm actually from Hong Kong, but I'm currently in Toronto. Yes.
And let me ask you this. How did you get involved in this world of health and well-being and maximal performance? How did that journey start for you?
Wow. If you're asking when it started, it actually started when I was a little kid because my dad would always talk about natural health. And he would have books, and I've got walls of books at home. And so I started reading what he was reading, right? As soon as I started reading. And he would tell us about like natural health, about how medication is made, how it suppresses our immune system. And when I became in my 20s, I think I was more into health because I came from a pretty good background. Like my family has money. And I realized that even when you have money, it doesn't mean that you have health. And money cannot normally buy health. So back when I was 25, which was like 27 years ago, I openly talk about how old I am because I'm 53 and I don't look it. So I'm very proud.
Not at all. I thought you were 35.
I've been getting a lot of 35s recently.
That's amazing.
No, it was 38. Now it's 35. So I'm lucky to be turning the clock back.
That you're turning it backwards. That's what I get. People say you're going backwards in age, and I like that.
Yes, and it's a sign of health, right? And when I was about 25, I decided that if I can exchange health with money, I would do it. And that's when I started going to my Chinese doctor. I have a really good Chinese doctor. I've gone to Chinese chiropractors, so they're a little bit different than Western chiropractors. So they do.
What's different about them? What's different about them? I'm curious. As a former chiropractor, I got to know now what's different.
Yes. Okay. So Chinese chiropractor, they also look at the spine, but they also look at which section correspond to which organ.
Yeah.
So if that part is a little bit off, that means that that organ, say for example, the liver, which is mostly the middle part of our back, it's a little bit crooked or misaligned. It means that you actually have to work on your liver. If you don't clear out the garbage in your liver, even if you have fixed the spine, it will go back.
But that's not just Chinese chiropractic. That's even chiropractic here. There's multiple different philosophies in chiropractic here for sure. There's no question.
Okay.
Right? You have the visceral somatic and the somatic visceral, but they both are connected. 100% agree with you on that completely. Yes.
Wonderful. And also, because I used to have a back in Hong Kong too, right? And he would tell me that I have flat foot, and that's why I have like issues with my knees and spine and all that. And then later on, when I'm studying more into the holistic, I realized the flat foot is actually caused by the spine. Now I know that scoliosis is actually caused by viruses that are hidden inside the spinal column. And once you kill that virus from your system, or your system or your body's immune system has got rid of that virus, your flat foot actually self-heal. So I've got a lot of people who has flat foot, do not need to put on any of those, insoles and all that. And once we work on the spine, of course, over a period of time, their flat foot actually recovers, which is, I'm getting really off topic here, but it's so that's how I started with Chinese doctors and Chinese chiropractor. And then after going to a Chinese doctor for 6 years, and I would go to him twice a week. And I am very curious and I have a lot of questions. So every time when I went to him for the session, I would ask him questions about my health. and why the food and why the imbalance and what causes what and why would this food cause this and what will happen if I have balanced it, and what happens to other people. And he was very, very patient and he explained everything to me. So it was sort of like going to a Chinese stock medicine class for 6 years, right? Because I had a class with him for half an hour twice a week for 6
That's right.
years,
Sure.
right? So over the years, I've learned a lot. And then when I became a mother, my daughter had a lot of eczema and respiratory issues. And I didn't want to give him a lot of medication because I have read all the side effects of the insert. So growing up, my dad has taught me to read everything. So even when I used to take a lot of Tylenol. I don't know if it's okay to say, but this is how my own experience. I used to take a lot of Tylenol. And I would read the insert. And in Hong Kong, all the medicine comes with an insert. I don't know about, I'm not very familiar with it, how it works here. So I would pull out the insert and I read it. In Hong Kong, it's called Panadol. We sell paracetamol instead of acetaminophen, but anyway, it's the same thing. And I would read the insert. And every time when I buy a new box, I would read the insert.
Yeah.
And I remember my colleague would ask me, why do you read the insert every time? I said, baby, because I need to know what I'm putting in my body. And maybe they change something and I would not know. So I read it every time. And so I understand the contraindication and everything very clearly.
Yeah.
And I used to read a lot of American magazines. And you know how you have a lot of medicine ads, right? And on the medicine ad on the back, it has all the fine prints of all the side effects. Read it. And I love to read everything. I would read all the fine prints at the back. It's a little crazy, I know, but it's something that I love doing.
But that's what gives you the awareness, right? That gives you the knowledge to know how it works, right? Not just what the symptoms are, but what are the other things that could show up. That's how you gain information. All the information we want is out there. We just have to do the due diligence to do the work behind it, which is what you're doing.
Absolutely. So I've read over my years, I have read a lot of inserts and I've read a lot of side effects. So when I became a mother, I didn't want to give that to my child, right? Because of this little body that was already suffering. So I brought her to my naturopath. I already have a naturopath. I already have a homeopath. I already have a Chinese doctor. So I have all these different Chinese modality or natural modality that was non-invasive. Yet with like even Reiki or angel healing work. So I brought her everywhere that I could find. Nobody could actually help her except from my homeopath said it is caused by candida, asked me to look it up. So I looked it up, I did my own research, and finally I could control it with a very high dose of probiotic.
Yeah.
But still, she wasn't recovering, and she was still having her recurrent health, respiratory issues. And her pediatrician said that she has to be consistently on antihistamine, probably for the rest of her life.
Oh my God.
That didn't make sense.
That's
right?
a no, right?
Yes, to me that didn't make sense, and I didn't want to give it to her because I was on antihistamine between when I was 20 to 30. And I didn't want that. I didn't want that for her. So, and I remember vividly, and I put this in my book, that one day she was just coughing and sneezing and runny nose was too much. It was really bothering her sleep. I went to the fridge. I bought the bottle of antihistamine. It was gigantic because I was supposed to supply it for her for a long time, right? I opened the fridge. I took it out. I looked at the bottle and I stood there and I thought, do I really have to give this to her? If I accept that children do cough nonstop, and if it is a part of growing up, and the coughing doesn't seem to bother her. It only seems to bother me and the people around me, the adults. It doesn't seem to bother her. She still sleeps, she still plays, she still eats, she still goes to school, she still has fun, she still laughs. If it doesn't bother her, I should not let it bother me. If I do not let it bother me, then I do not have to give this to her. So at that moment, I decided not to let her cough bother me, and I let it go. And I think about 6 months later, I found Young Living, and it got rid of her cough, it got rid of her candida, it got rid of her eczema, and she became healthier.
What a story. What an unbelievable. Now I know why you're the largest distributor in the entire country of China. So you started into Young Living and you started doing your work inside that. What made you say, you know what, now I want to grow this into an enterprise? Because that's what you have. You have an enterprise now, right? So like you have a massive organization.
That's a very good question. So I started with the products. I started really want to helping mostly moms with their children, with their health. And then I realized that actually if the children are not well, it's the mother. The mother is actually the core of, I would call it the health pillar of the family. If the mother isn't healthy, if she's emotionally and physically not healthy, the family cannot be healthy.
Sure.
And I've learned that over the years because I'm an avid reader. I love to research. And as I was building my organization, I was sharing products and I was sharing health knowledge, right? But when I have to teach this and when we have business builders coming in, I felt that it was my duty to understand the business part. So I
Sure.
self-taught because I had no
Yeah.
idea what a network marketing company was. I actually got my first check, not knowing why I got my first check. I
It
did that.
wasn't about the money. It was about the service. That's the key.
Yes, absolutely. It was about
Yeah.
helping fellow mothers. And so I had to research. So I started asking cross-line leaders in the US how they learn, where they
Mhm.
learn, who they learn it from. And they were telling me that they could see the hunger in my eye for knowledge. And I started out as a nobody, as everybody started out, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't shy. I went to the big leaders and asked them because they're very open. They want everybody to be successful. So they told me about El Strider. I don't know if you're in network marketing, you've probably heard of him. And eventually, I think the teachers that have really helped me with my network marketing business, that I understand how it works by teaching it to other people. I mean, I made it to the top leader rank without knowing much. I only know that I had to duplicate. And I
Sure.
did it from my heart, right? But when I have to teach it, I can no longer say, I don't know because I have to teach. So I
Yeah.
would say there are two people who are the key to what I've learned is the first one is Eric Worre.
Mhm.
Anybody who's in network marketing must have to know his name. If you
Sure.
don't, you have to look him up. The other person is Richard Brooks. These two people are amazing people and they are so generous with their knowledge. And even if you're not in network marketing, I highly recommend you follow both of them because they're more like a personal growth, business growth kind of people. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you look at your career, your life, your, not just your business growth, like what was the one pivotal moment that made you say, you know what, I'm going to take this and turn this into a mission? Because not only did you, like, you have to have had a massive mission to play at this level. So what was the thing that made you say, you know what, I'm going to take this from doing this family wise to helping moms all over the world? What was the thing that made you say that?
I think it was the first time when I met Gary Young,
Mm.
who's the founder of Young Living. He has passed away. I wrote a book about him because he's my mentor, and I'm the person I am today because of him.
Mm.
So I think the pivotal moment was when I started with the products. I did a lot of research, right? So I read a lot about the products and the founder of the company because there's a lot of information about him online, both positive and negative,
Sure.
And I think as anybody who is successful, especially in an industry that is so controversial, naturopathic stuff, essential oils, network marketing, it's all very controversial.
Yeah.
And because I have personally benefited from the products, I needed to know why these essential oils are different from the ones that I've used before, right? Because these oils really work overnight, which when I was in my 20s, I was already buying really high quality organic essential oils, but I never had this kind of results. So I was curious to know the difference. And when I found out that the difference is the founder, the person who's growing them or testing them, then I have to look this person up. And because of all the controversial things that I've found online, I need to see it for myself, right?
Yeah.
So I've read that he was teaching a lot back in the days, in the 80s or 90s. The company is like 30-year old. I thought to myself, if one day I can go meet him in person, then I will know whether he's a fraud or he's the real deal.
Sure.
And indeed, the universe brought him to me, to Asia. Well, back then, flying to the US felt like a long way away because I have two small children in tow, right? And the universe brought him to Singapore. And the reason why I'm the founding member of Hong Kong is because I'm the first builder in Hong Kong. My enroller is actually from Singapore.
Okay.
And so the person who, for people who don't know what an enroller is, the person who introduced me to Young Living. She's
Sure.
she's one of my best girlfriends. She lives in Singapore. And Gary Young was going to fly to Singapore to open the Singapore market, to open the office there. And I thought, what a great opportunity. The universe is answering my prayers, right? So I flew to Singapore. I met him in person. The first time I met him, we were waiting outside the new office and we're, putting oils on and we're like doing affirmations and stuff like that. And the hustle and bustle, and they said, oh, he's coming, just arrived, he's coming upstairs. And the elevator doors opened and he walked out in I still remember this day, in the black suit and his red tie. And that was the moment, the first time ever, I understood what the word gratitude meant. I've told this story 1,000 times. Many people in my team have heard it. Every time when I remember that moment, I'm still touched because I was so grateful. Imagine, I was 42, I think, and I've always heard about people talking about gratitude. I never
Mhm.
really understood what the word meant. But when I saw him, I understood what the word meant because I was overwhelmed with this feeling of gratitude. And that was around 9:30 in the morning. The whole day he spoke until like 10:30 at night from at the office, and then we moved to an event. He spoke in the morning, he spoke at night, in the afternoon, and at night he was on stage. He had all this energy, and I know that he was like 68 or 70, something like that. And I sat there, and I was 41, and I sat there in the audience, and I thought, this guy is in his 60s and he has all the energy, and he's still, I know that he just got off the flight in the morning or late last night. He still doesn't look like he's tired. Whatever he
Right.
has, I want.
That's infectious, right? When people say that, that's the
Right?
key. I get it
Yeah.
all. I hear it in my clients, my students, they say it all the time. It's like people say, what's different about you? I want that.
Right? I want
It's
what
the
he has.
intangible.
Exactly. And he has a sparkle in his eyes, he's the kind that anything can happen. And, only if you put your mind into it, you can get it done. And I wanted that, right? I was,
Yeah.
single mom. I didn't have a lot of education. I didn't even finish high school. I've never been to college back then, when I was 41. But I wanted what he has. And I wanted to be like him when I was 68, And obviously, I could feel that he genuinely wanted to help people with the products he made.
Sure.
So I went home and I thought, I got to tell this to my friends. And I want this. I want whatever he has. So I chased him around the world, literally.
Yep.
And over the next 6, 8 years, I saw him 30, I think about 30 times. I would see him like every 2, 3 months, wherever he was, I was flying to. I was going to get what he has. And I have it now. Yeah,
And that's the key.
incredible.
It's one of the key things that everyone says, right? Consciousness is contagious. And you surround yourself with people that are doing amazing things in the world. You become one of those people that are doing amazing things in the world.
Absolutely.
That just is the way that it just does work that way. But people get so stuck in their fear, their story, and they don't get around that. And it's amazing that you stepped up and you did that. Let me ask you this, like, in building this team and organization, right? Because you read my book, or you're reading my book, as you said, right? Wired for Wealth. And it helps a lot of network marketers. It's written for people who are looking to grow their money. And because the paradigms of money have been so misconstrued in our psychology. And when I was in practice, what I learned, Joanne, is that, people, they didn't realize that all these ailments and back pain and neck pain and shoulder pain and liver pain and gallbladder pain and heart pain, and it was all started in the brain. If we can rewire the brain, we can rewire their body. And money was the number one cause of it. And I found out in my life that if I can help people, I can rewire anything. I can rewire anything from any circumstance of any scenario to be able to help someone heal their life. But I thought, if I can help an entrepreneur, if I can help a network marketer make more money and make a difference in the world, instead of, because maybe someone's looking to make $100,000 a month. Maybe they're just looking to make an additional $2,000 or $3,000 a month, right? If I can help them get that consciousness, the wiring, get rid of their past junk, not from the old ways, not from just doing affirmations and reading Think and Grow Rich. And that stuff is not there because it only works a short period of time. But if I could show people how to remove the actual areas in their brain so they can rewire, so they can grow their income, grow their wealth, grow their family, that's the name of the game, to give people a better life, right? And so for me, like I'm a little bit like Eric Worre in that capacity, because I used to see Eric Worre speak back in the day too. And when I was involved a little bit more in network marketing, I'm company agnostic, I like to say, right? Meaning that I just want to help every network marketer, every direct salesperson, every person that I can make more money. I don't care what company you're in. I know companies go through their company wars and all that stuff, right? And that's great. You guys can do that. That's fine. That's not for me. I just want to help people.
I don't do that. I think a lot of network marketing businesses, a lot of products are amazing, especially the legacy companies. I mean, they're around for a long time for a reason, right? There are tons of great network marketing companies out there. It's not the company, it's not the product, it's the people.
That's right, 100%. I'm like, just get out of the way, right? Like, I have products coming from 5 different companies every single day in my home, and like I'm an avid supplement taker, and I do all this health stuff, and I find that those supplements are better than the crap that you can get at the stores sometimes, right? And many times. So I ask you this question: like, when you sit and say, like, you wanted to build this, you wanted to build an organization, you want to help people. I don't know that most people will sit and say that, but what made you finally believe that you could?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. So I was reading a lot of what Gary was teaching, and he would write the monthly newsletter that would come with our orders. And he grew up as a logger, and we have farms. So he was writing about winter harvests. And I was reading about this article that he wrote about winter harvest, and we would do winter harvest every year. What winter harvest means is we cut down the trees and we would chip it and we distill it and we get the oil, right? Mm-hmm. And so I remember him saying, if you want to be able to do anything, you got to come to winter harvests. And I wanted to do anything, I wanted to be able to do anything. And so I wanted to go. So I went to winter harvests. And I went to a winter harvest, and there was not a lot of people. There were only about 12 people in a week. And that's a great opportunity to learn from Gary. And I walked up to him at breakfast and I said, I'm here to learn from you, and I'm going to follow you around today. And I do that. And he goes, yep. And I said, so what do I do? He goes, well, in about 30 minutes, wait for me at the back, and I'm going to bring my trailer down to do blah, 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 blah. I had no idea what he was saying. Yeah. Because he spoke of mountain English. And so I went out there. So I spent about a whole morning with him in his trailer. And what he was doing was he was going down the snow, and he was going to pick up a bulldozer and bring it down to the farm. And when we're about to get to the farm, he said to me, well, there's just the two of us here. You got to drive that bulldozer down to the farm for me later on when we stop, because my trailer can't go in. The truck, is that what you call it? The trailer, a truck, the big gigantic truck?
I'm going to believe you. I'm a city guy. I don't know much about the
okay. So I said, huh? What? No. I said, I've never driven in the snow. I've never driven anywhere outside of Hong Kong. Yeah. And I'm not going to do it. And he said, well, there's just two of us. You either drive this or you drive the bulldozer. And he said it with such certainty in his eye that I could do it, right? He had no doubt. And I was like, and when you're put in that position, you're sort of like, okay. So I hopped off the truck, climbed into the bulldozer, and he got up to the bulldozer and taught me how to do it. So he said to push up in front or whatever, right? And he jumped off and go, there you go, go. And I did it. And I drove it down about half a mile down to the farm. I turned the corner. And of course, I slid and slide and, a little bit of that.
Part of the game.
Yeah. And I got there. And interestingly enough, the people in the farm who were waiting for the bulldozer all cheering for me because they saw this Chinese woman that came out of nowhere driving this bulldozer, right? And at that moment, I thought, wow, I can do this. And that's what I wrote in my book. The first sentence that I wrote in my book was, Gary believed in me before anybody else did. He believed in me before I did. And because of his faith in me, now I can do anything. And because I got onto that bulldozer and I drove it, I realized, and that over the next few days, I drove chippers and I don't know, the thing that climbed the trees and whatnot, other big machineries. And I rode horses and I did tons of stuff that I never thought I would do. And I also, because I was seeing him so often, I was seeing him 4 or 5 times a year. Every time I saw him, he would say something that was really inspirational. It would really tell us, one of his quotes is, if you are feeling like if you're feeling like you don't want to do it, just do it, right?
That's right.
Every time when I wanted to give up, and there were so many times I wanted to give up because it's not easy, I would think, what would Gary do? What would Gary say? What would he say? And just do it. There's always a solution. If you want to find this, you will always find a solution.
So how's it feel now that, 60,000 people are saying, what would Joanne do? How's that feel?
Oh my God, I never thought of it that way. Well, I certainly hope I continue to inspire and I continue to teach. And I relentlessly teach. Actually, now I'm doing business coaching. I'm doing Zooms. I'm putting everything on YouTube. Things I teach mostly are in Cantonese, which is my mother tongue. I would be so happy for them. I hope that I can inspire them, and I aspire to continue to becoming better. I feel like I'm a role model, and I feel like we're all role models for our community.
Sure.
Right? And we just have to role model what I feel is right for everybody. And there is a noble cause and there's a noble values that we hold on to. And right. I hope that those noble values that I hold on to will apply to the people who wish to follow me and learn from. I don't know how to reply to that. That's what I will say. I will strive to continue to become better.
You are an amazing individual. I can see why you are so infectious to be around, because You have an energy and a bubble and a lightness and a joy about you that is completely real, and it's so authentic. You can see it; it's completely authentic, and it's just an honor to be able to convey and communicate with you about this. I have one question I want to ask you before we kind of round it, because I feel like I can sit and talk to you for another 2 hours. We can do this all, but we try to keep these around 30 35 minutes to be respectful of people's time. But I want to ask you this: is that now that you're building this organization, you've built the organization, right? Like, what's the thing that makes you say, you know what, I want to go to the next level? What's the next level look like for you?
Well, I actually last year I took the course with Eric Worre, and he shared with us his first ever speech on stage. It's a 12-minute speech, and he shared with us how he did that, like in his very early years. If you listen to that speech, you can hear that his voice was very young. I'm a big fan. I've met him in person. I'm a big fan. I think he's doing amazing work. That's why I mentioned him so many times. And at that moment, when I was listening to him and when he was telling us how he like practice and how he wrote the script until he can get on stage and say it, and I thought to myself, I want to be him one day. I want to be able to deliver a kind of speech like that. I'm also a Tony Robbins fan, so I strive to be. I know that Tony Robbins is like super way up there, right? But
it's just because he's really tall. That's all. It's because he's really tall.
Back in the days, Gary Young was also all the way up there. But I strive to be like them. They're my role models. And
Sure.
Interestingly, I actually delivered a very similar speech in March in the Young Living APEC convention. They wanted me to talk about faith, and that was my goal, was to deliver something that was very similar to what Eric Worre could do and what Tony Robbins could do. And I did the speech. And when I got off stage, everybody told me that I was channeling Tony Robbins. And I was like, oh my God, I did it. Well, I still have a long way to go, I think. I think it was a good start. And that's where I strive to be. I actually really want to change the way people look at network marketing.
I love that.
I want to change. I want to do more coaching on network marketing because I want to build people. And a lot of people are in network marketing for the flash.
Sure.
And that's not what it is about. Network marketing is an amazing system for people to becoming better people and becoming better influence in their community. They're selling their service. And I want to do that. That's my next goal.
I think it's amazing, right? But I want to challenge you back, if that's okay.
Yes, of course.
I wouldn't want to see another Eric Worre. I wouldn't want to see another Tony Robbins. I think the world is just waiting for Joanne Kan to be Joanne Kan.
Oh my God. Okay.
In the beginning of my career, I used to love Tony, and I still love Tony. I think he's amazing. Eric Worre, I've seen speak a million times, and I used to look at all these speakers that I used to look up and say, oh, Bob Proctor, and Bob Proctor then became a mentor and a friend of mine. And Tony Robbins, I never really met him or worked with him directly, but like all these people that I wanted to emulate, I became friends with most of them. And I realized, and I even started to sound a little bit like them for a while, like Les Brown. I started sounding like him for a little while. And then I started like Jack Canfield. I was like, what am I doing? And then one of my mentors, he said to me one time, he goes, until you're not ready to be yourself, you'll never catapult in the game of speaking, because the world already has all these other people, but what they don't have is a Dr. Alok Trivedi. And when you realize that voice, then that voice will skyrocket beyond what people can imagine. And I say the same thing to you. I think there's a Joanne Kan that is out there that is unique, and voice is just ready. It doesn't have to be anybody else. It can just be you.
That is such a wonderful gift that I just received. Thank you so much. Yes, I will do that, and you will probably see a very new me in very.
I love that. Well, Joanne, I want to thank you for being here. Where can people learn about you? Where can they learn about what you do? How can they connect with you if they want to connect with you?
Okay, the fastest way to connect with me would probably be either Facebook or Instagram. You can message me, or you can follow me. My Facebook is mostly in Chinese though, so if you can read Chinese, it will be interesting. Otherwise, it will all be like, I don't know, signs. My Instagram is English. I have a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is bilingual. Some of them I teach in English, some of them I teach in Chinese. You can look me up. My YouTube channel is Joanne Kan, YLHK, I think. I just upload stuff, and I have the people who follow me.
People do it. Like, I don't even know what I do. It just ends up there somehow.
Yeah. If you Google me, you can find me. Joanne Kan, Young Living. You'll find me. It's easy to find me.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have appreciated the authenticity, honesty, the sincerity of this woman. To be very transparent with you all, I met her for the very first time on this podcast, and I met her 3 minutes before we started, and I could sense who she is. And I'm a very good judge of character, and I can tell you that this woman, not only is she a leader because of what she does, she's a leader because of who she is. And I think that's the biggest message we can take away today, is the stories of following, leadership, mentorship, all of that. But to me, from my perspective at least, is she's a leader today, not because she wanted to be, it's because who she is. And she lives that life and she exonerates that. So be who you are, live authentically, play your game, because nobody else is out there to play your game. You play yours and crush it. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you all for listening. I'll see you next time. I'm Dr. Alok Trivedi, aka Dr. Rewire. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of the Ultimate Mind Podcast. Your support means the world to us. If you found value in today's conversation, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe wherever you're listening. Ready to go deeper? Download the UltiMind app and try it for 7 days free and learn to rewire your brain every single day to take charge of your mind and live the ultimate life.